in the Western Conference playoffs. The winner tonight plays at Phoenix Friday night. Hip-hop star J. Cole gave up his roster spot on a pro basketball team in China after one game. The two-time Grammy winner had signed a contract to play at least 3 games with the Nanjing Kings in the Chinese Basketball Association. Cole, who played high school ball in North Carolina, had to leave the team because he could not get an extension on his visa to play all 3 games. The first HBCU football game in the Bahamas is scheduled for November 7th this year. Morehouse and Kentucky State will meet up in the premiere of the HBCU Bahamas Classic in Nassau. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, black voices, black power.
The heat is on
the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected, stay informed, stay loud.
Stand up!
Man, I feel like money. Man, I feel like money. They attracted to me. They come around like honey. They come around like honey. 'Cause I fly like a bee. Man, I got them all buzzing. Back up in the mix.
Welcome to Wealth Building Wednesdays, where we center black, women, and BIPOC-owned businesses, highlight opportunities and initiatives for underrepresented entrepreneurs, and center socially innovative enterprises, building generational prosperity, fostering real networking, and recycling black dollars. It's Wealth Building Wednesdays on KBLA Talk 1580.
It is. It's exactly that. And we're welcoming in now the president of the Africatown Community Development Corporation into the Wealth Building Wednesday spotlight. If you're from LA, you might be thinking Leimert Park, Africatown, but this is a whole nother Africatown. In fact, it is in the city of Detroit. Terrence Willis, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I can't complain at all.
So talk to me about this Community Development Corporation. And first of all, you know, what that means, what you guys are actually doing. You talk about this initiative. Here in LA, we call Leimert Park Africatown. We just, you know, nickname this whole neighborhood that. But yours is a very specific initiative that's meant to transform an existing street in the city of Detroit, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so, one, I was very pleased to learn about as I discovered, you know, your show, your outlet. I discovered Africatown in LA, and that's very encouraging. Here in Detroit, Africatown has been an endeavor that the population has questioned for a very long time. Essentially, let me just describe first what Africatown is. Africatown is really a strategy, and it's meant to be an open source strategy that's leveraged by African communities around the world. There is a common response that I get from people here, or a question that's posed here in Detroit, which is, we have a Greek town, and we have a Mexican town, and we have these other districts that are using culture as an economic engine, but there's no African town, right? And strategically, that makes absolutely no sense. Being that, you know, in an African town concept, I use our common heritage as that economic engine, right? And you look at, you know, the concept of African, which means a lot of different things to different people's living level set. When we use the term African, we mean all people of African descent, all over the planet, right? So as a result of being the first folks on the planet, right, because civilization started in Africa, and being connected to all of humanity, but specifically those folks who were spread throughout the world as a part of the slave trade and other migration, different types of migration, we have the most diverse and probably the most influential culture in the entire world. But in our communities, right, that are oftentimes labeled, hoods or ghettos or, described in all of these negative terms, food deserts and, communities, all these negative terms that are describing where we rest our head, it only makes sense to leverage that culture, hip hop, capoeira, jazz, soul food, ackee and saltfish, all of these things that we have created that we don't exalt above any other culture, but in and of itself is a beautiful, rich culture that's enjoyed by all humans. I was recently in Tokyo at Shibuya Crossing, and there was a young man with a speaker system rapping while others were breakdancing, right? And all of them were Japanese. So our culture has influenced the entire world. Why wouldn't we create in every community, even the communities in Africa, why wouldn't we reclaim that culture and use it to revitalize our economy? So it's not something revolutionary because, we've coined a term called a cultural economic zone. And the cultural economic zone are those places that we're very familiar with, like Chinatown in Manhattan, or Chinatown in San Francisco, or Chinatown in Toronto, right? These are all places that whenever I'm in those cities, I make sure that I go and I enjoy Szechuan or Cantonese cuisine and culture, right? Why wouldn't we implement that same strategy in our culture? But and for years, when I would travel to those places, I started to notice something else. I noticed that when I'm in Chinatown in Manhattan, I see the same companies with presence in Chinatown and Toronto. And all of those businesses are all connected back. In the 80s or in the 90s, rather, I would travel to New York, to Chinatown, to the Garment District, and I would buy things and I would bring them back to Detroit and I would sell them. Well, in that, I dealt with a company called HZ Lux Trading Company. And when I traveled to Toronto, I saw that company had a presence in Toronto as well. And all of them are connected back to Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Shanghai, right? So aside from just being a place where the economy is thriving by attracting consumers to come and enjoy our culture, African towns should serve as a portal for trade, connecting every other area, that we find ourselves. So just a little bit about me. I consider myself to be a serial entrepreneur, starting with my first paper route at the age of 13 in Detroit. I own an IT company as my primary business. I own a real estate development company here in Detroit. But I also own a business called Black Star Brokers International. And we've been doing business trading in Africa since 1997, right? Or 1999, I'm sorry. And what I see when I travel around and I'm doing business in these other places is that there are a myriad of opportunities in various industries, various types of businesses, commodities, materials and services that are available for all of it. This paper boy from Detroit, if I could go to Guinea or Ghana or Nigeria and do business, I don't think that there's anything really stopping the rest of us other than the fact that there's no conduit between. So, aside from just revitalizing the community.
I think it's also fear. I really do. I've been going to the motherland since 2016, and the amount of people that ask me, how many shots do you need? Or am I going to get robbed? Am I going to get sick and die? Will I be able to find food to eat? It's part of it is that, what Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, because when we go, almost every year, someone from the group starts doing business with Africa and maintains a viable connection, at least one. Every time, and some, plan retirement there and all kinds of other things, because we see that they're disparaged just the way our communities here are disparaged. If you were from another country, you would say Detroit or Watts. Why would I want to go there? Will I get a disease? Will I get robbed? So I think you're right. Some of it is a lack of conduits, but some of it is the mental colonization that we are still undoing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I love that quote, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, that Barb, because originally that was a quote from Marcus Garvey. And, I do consider myself to be a Garveyite, right? But I noticed something when I first discovered Marcus Garvey in my late teens, my early 20s. I listened to Marcus Garvey and I extracted one thing. But after maturing some and having some experiences, I listened to Marcus Garvey completely different. And, the message of self-determination has no guarantees. It does not guarantee success. Freedom does not guarantee success. It's the ability to pursue it. Our saving grace, though, is the Almighty God, right? Who put us on a planet that's full of opportunities, right? And you're absolutely right. Fear is probably the primary, or I'll even sum it up to say our current paradigm that's being carefully cultivated, right? I've had that experience personally in Africa, where I've told someone I'm from Detroit, and a person who's never, been to the United States at all, either had no idea about Detroit, or they had some skewed, carefully crafted propaganda that they were exposed to, that they've internalized, right, to say, why would I go there? And my normal response to them is that, I take it as an opportunity to really shed some light. I say, well, they say the same thing about Lagos, or they say the same thing about Nigeria, but here we both are. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. There are challenges in throughout our communities around the world. But there's also a part of the story that's rarely told, and I think Detroit's a perfect example of that.
Absolutely.
When I was born,
Hold that thought, Terrence Willis. We'll continue this conversation when we come forward. We're going to get the nuts and bolts of what is happening, because the African Town Initiative in Detroit is not just a concept. It is backed by dollars and specific plans. I want to take a look at that. It's some pretty exciting stuff when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., p.m., baby. You're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Paid for by government. The 1986 to 2021 United States Silver Eagle, the first ever U.S. silver dollar minted in 99.9% pure silver and is the best-selling coin in the world. These original and historic silver dollars have ceased production forever. They will never be minted again. For a limited time only, full-pound bags of original U.S. government-struck silver dollars are being released to the public. You can own a full pound of original U.S. silver dollar coins featuring Lady Liberty and the heraldic eagle, never to be struck again. Guaranteed. Call now to secure original United States Silver Eagles by the pound. The first U.S. silver dollars ever to be struck in 99.9% pure silver. Plus, receive a free bonus, an American Collector's Pack valued at over $40 and free shipping with every order. Call 1-800-560-6468 now to secure your full pound bag of United States Silver Eagle coins before they are gone. That's 1-800-560-6468.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Conversation continuing with Dominique DePrima, but it's not just me. It's a Wealth Building Wednesday, and we're talking with Terrence Willis, who's the president of the African Town Community Development Corporation in Detroit, Michigan. And, you know, we were talking about how we get disparaged around the world and we build nonetheless. And here in the U.S., even Detroit, you know, we know it as being a town with a huge black population. We know it as being a town that's gone through some struggles as far as the, you know, the economic development in general, not just of one particular African town area. I know for a while we heard stories about these houses you could buy for almost nothing. I also understand that's long gone, a thing of the past. But this is an actual project that you guys have spearheaded that is in cooperation with the city itself, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Detroit, actually, our city council in 2004 passed a resolution to create an African town. And as far back as in the mid 70s under the Coleman Young administration, there's been an effort to create these same type of, cultural districts that celebrated African American or African culture around the world. But there's been, and since '97, this has been a dream of mine with my partner Dorian Harvey and others to create an African town here. Even prior to starting and doing business, the one thing I want to that you mentioned in terms of the opportunities in Detroit itself is that they are far from gone. Like Detroit is probably one of the best opportunities in terms of acquiring real estate and building wealth through real estate that I'm aware of in the entire country. And a lot of people can probably relate to other areas like DC or Harlem or maybe even Inglewood. I'm not well versed, but I've heard some things about Inglewood.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty much there. Yeah. where it was one way and now it's another way, and the gentrification is pushing many out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Detroit is that Detroit, when I was born in 1971, was the 5th largest city in the United States, and it was a thoroughly black majority city. It's now about 27 in terms of population in the United States. So the trend that we saw in other cities like, Inner Harbor, Baltimore, or DC, or wherever, in these areas that gentrified in, maybe 10, 15 years ago, that process is happening in Detroit right now, where Detroit has amongst, between 1, 2, and 3, the highest property appreciation in the United States still today, right? And that's largely because so much property fell into the hands of municipalities, the city, the county, the state. And as you know, municipalities are not in the real estate business. They're in the tax collection business. So essentially, they're looking for people who can take ownership of these properties, remove that liability from the municipalities, and develop them into something. And Detroit is fortunate, right? Because at that same time in 1971, when I was born, Detroit had number 1, 2, and 3 of the Fortune 500 headquartered here. Those corporations are still pretty much headquartered here in Detroit, and they're still pretty significant. They're not number 1, 2, and 3, but they're well in the Fortune 500. But during that time of unprecedented wealth for Americans, period, but specifically for Black Americans, there was infrastructure and institutions and things because of the tax base that were there. So Detroit, unlike a lot of other cities that may be seeing some opportunity.
Well, and also you still have, from what I'm reading, close to 75% of the population is Black still.
Absolutely. We're still the largest predominantly Black city in the United States, and we have a culture. So right in the area that we spoke about, there's a street, Dexter Avenue, which is filled with history from this type of philosophy, right, of Black nationalism. A mile away on Linwood Street, which is our eastern border, the Nation of Islam was founded there. The Shrine of the Black Madonna, the Republic of New Africa, all started right there. New Bethel AME with Reverend C.L. Franklin, Aretha Franklin's father was there. Motown is a stone's throw away.
Right, understood. I just want to make sure we don't run out of time here, Mr. Willis, to talk about the investments that you guys are overseeing that are happening in your African town, because it's pretty impressive. $9.5 million in a streetscape, $12 million in a Helen Moore Community Center and Park, $1.5 million in a strategic neighborhood fund. Not sure what that means. I'm sure you'll let us know. And $1 million in targeted grants. This is all part of the African Town Initiative?
Well, yeah. So it's also a part of other initiatives that are focused in the same area simultaneously.
I see.
So the Dexter Avenue corridor is on either side. There's 6 neighborhoods. It's a 2.5 square mile area with 6 neighborhoods: Russell Woods, Nardin Park, Dexter, Linwood, Jameson, Petoskey, and Wildermere Park. These neighborhoods are all, turn of the century architecture, stunning brick homes that have been fallen into like a third of those properties in that area, both vacant land and structures, are owned by some municipalities, right? Another untold number are held by speculators who bought for pennies on the dollar 10, 15 years ago that are looking for exits that still represent, in comparison to other places around the country, tremendous opportunities, right? So what we're doing is taking a step further to implement the African Town strategy, this cultural economic zone model, to say, okay, well, how do we, one, revitalize the economy, bring the things and services that people want to have in close proximity to these neighborhoods, right? So that's part one of the African Town strategy, which is to leverage the culture and highlight the culture to attract consumers of all ethnicities to come and to participate. But then also, how do we open up this opportunity to people of African descent around the world? Because most cultural economic zones, that's how they have been created, right? So here in Detroit, we have a former Polish enclave that was called Pole Town that in recent years has transitioned because somehow Yemenis and Bengalis discovered Hamtramck, Michigan, and now they call it Banglatown. Right?
Oh, it got a whole ethnic remake.
A whole ethnic, and then we also have a pretty popular suburb of Detroit called Dearborn now. That when I grew in the '80s, it was a white middle class, working class community that was passing resolutions to keep Black Detroiters out of their parks. But now it's the largest concentration of Arabs in the United States, and they've exhibited the same economic power and prowess in their community. It's essentially, it hasn't been dubbed Arab town yet, but essentially that's what it is. But in the most recent election, that same community probably cost Kamala Harris the state of Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they had a move, right? Yeah, so they made some national news in that regard. So we're not only just talking about economic power and the cultural paradigm shift, but also consolidating and using this strategy to have more economic or political power in the United States as well. So that stretch of Dexter Avenue, we're starting with Africantown CDC's key project is called the Sankofa Arts and Culture Center, which is a 28,000 square foot former school that we're transforming into a cultural institution to, one, reclaim the culture and shift the paradigm. Because at one time in my lifetime, what existed on Dexter Avenue was probably, I'll say it made Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma pale in comparison. But that story isn't being told. People don't understand. And we want to recreate that. But the thing that caused it to fall was not white disinvestment. It was Black disinvestment, and it was the erosion of culture that caused that, right? That same Pan-African mindset that sprung from that neighborhood in Detroit, that's what was attacked with a paradigm or with a propaganda campaign that made us devalue our own community and seek to move away.
Terrence Willis, we got 60 seconds here. How can we help you? What do you want us to know? How can we connect with African Town in Detroit? The plans, I hope you all get a chance to see what they're doing because it's very detailed and very strategic.
Well, we are, so African Town CDC is a newly formed organization. We have a website that's under construction right now. So in the future, look to africantown.net. But you can also send an email for anyone who's looking for information to info@africantown.net. But I also, my position, I will admit I'm somewhat biased, right, about this concept and about Detroit. But I invite everyone, if you're looking to make money, whether it's an African town or not, Detroit is the biggest opportunity in this country right now. You can make it. If you can't make it here, you can't make it anywhere. That's for sure. Because, if you have any kind of experience and a couple dollars in your pocket, you can even come here with no money in your pocket.
Earn some, yeah. Absolutely. Well said. Some folks in the chat, including Paul Lee, saying they're looking at investing in Detroit right now. Maybe you've inspired them this morning. Terrence Willis, African Town Community Development Corporation, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We've got news, we've got traffic, we've got sports, then these phone lines are wide open. We are unboxing the world next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Clay Fuller has been sworn in to replace former Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God. Congratulations, you're now a member of the 119th Congress.
Endorsed by President Trump, Fuller will serve out the remainder of Greene's term as Republicans hold a narrow House majority. Black South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn says some MAGA politicians have told him directly that slavery was a good thing. Clyburn made the remarks in a recent interview with PBS's Firing Line, warning of efforts to revive past injustices. And tennis star Coco Gauff is pushing back after criticism of her natural hair in a luxury fashion ad for Miu Miu handbags. Gauff says she won't apologize, adding her 4C hair is good enough for high fashion. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500 plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's a must-win game for the Clippers tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. They need to beat Golden State in a play-in round game, otherwise their season is over. Both teams have to win 2 games to earn the 8th and final seed in the Western Conference playoffs. The winner tonight plays at Phoenix Friday night. Hip-hop star J. Cole gave up his roster spot on a pro basketball team in China after 1 game. The 2-time Grammy winner had signed a contract to play at least 3 games with the Nanjing Kings in the Chinese Basketball Association. Cole, who played high school ball in North Carolina, had to leave the team because he could not get an extension on his visa to play all 3 games. The first HBCU football game in the Bahamas is scheduled for November 7th this year. Morehouse and Kentucky State will meet up in the premiere of the HBCU Bahamas Classic in Nassau. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Prince and the Revolution.
10 years ago, the world lost a genius.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Prince trusted few people. Tavis Smiley was one of them.
Good evening from Los Angeles. I'm Tavis Smiley. Tonight, a rare conversation with one of music's biggest superstars, Prince.
Prince opened up to Tavis in ways he rarely did with anyone else. Honest, unfiltered, and unforgettable. On Tuesday, April 21st, as we mark the 10th anniversary of his transition, experience 3 uninterrupted hours of Prince in his own words.
When people criticize my work and attack my personality, it doesn't help me. I can't do anything with it.
Don't just remember Prince, hear him.
We live in a place now that feels just about like a plantation. We're all indentured servants.
Tavis Smiley, Tuesday, April 21st, only on Tavis Smiley.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Can we just talk?
Tavis Smiley. You've heard me say it before, how we talk to one another matters. Earlier this year, we launched our first cohort, and I'm grateful to those who leaned in early and helped to shape the work. Now I'm inviting you to join me for a new live seminar, The Practice of Dialogue, Becoming a More Effective Communicator. This is a small group experience designed to help you strengthen how you communicate in your work, your relationships, and your everyday life. Space is limited to keep the experience personal and interactive. So if you're ready to take your communication to the next level, now is the time to focus on the skills that make conversations meaningful. The new 4-week cohort begins Monday, May 4th, and there's a nice discount for early bird registrants. Visit TavisTalks.com to learn more and reserve your place today. That's TavisTalks.com, because better conversations don't just happen, we practice them.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
You know, 5 years goes fast when you're doing something you love. 5 years of being right there with you, in your car, in your kitchen, at work, in your earbuds. And we don't take that for granted, not for a second. When it came time to celebrate our 5th anniversary, we knew it had to mean something. And we're celebrating on the most fitting day there is, Juneteenth. We're still putting the finishing touches on something really special. And before we tell the world, we want to tell you first. Once we announce this event publicly, we expect that seats are going to go fast, really fast. So, go to our website right now at KBLA1580.com and sign up to make sure you're the very first to hear what we've got planned. Before we go public with all the details, you've been riding with us. It's only right you're first to know. KBLA1580.com. We'll see you on Juneteenth for our 5th anniversary banger. Banger, banger, banger.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
So what do you do if you're the Pope and you get attacked by the President of the United States for the second time back to back on social media? I guess you head to Africa, promoting world peace. That's what Pope Leo is doing. He will touch down in Cameroon today, where there is a conflict going on that has actually separated two regions of that nation, and where certain people are not allowed to go into certain parts of the country there. The Pope is going, and he, in honor of his visit, that what they call the separatist movement there has declared a stand down, a safe passage period of time while the Pope is there for a couple days. You'll be able to travel wherever you want in the country. This is just for a few days. 3 days, actually, safe travel passage to allow people to move freely while the Pope is there. Pope Leo is on an African tour starting today, and he is promoting world peace while he does it. He is, they say, young for a pope. I guess 70 is young for a pope. That, is pretty spry as far as popes go, so he'll be around a while. But why would the president go back on social media? And by the way, Pope Leo will be in Africa for 10 days. 10 days touring 3 different nations there on the motherland, and promoting peace, promoting tolerance between different racial, ethnic, and religious groups. I just spent some time in Algeria where he was pointing out that even though Algeria is mostly Muslim, he can come there in friendship and in peace. Why is the president now doubling down, saying the Pope is terrible and continuing to disrespect the Pope on social media? You would think after the whole Trump, Jesus, Dr. AI meme debacle, he would just be quiet and move on, or keep talking and move on, which is more likely. But no, he's doubling down, saying the Pope is terrible and blah, blah, blah. But that Trump, Jesus, doctor meme has really backfired. He's getting heavy criticism from the right, heavy criticism from the left. He's being attacked as the Antichrist by folks who typically support him on social media. The church folks, those Christian voters, Christian right, who seem to be willing to make any kind of deal with the devil to get their political agenda done. In other words, dealing with a guy who just lies as often, probably much more often than he brushes his teeth. A guy who is a adjudicated sexual assaulter, aka alleged rapist, who is a 34-time felon, who cheats on his wife and with sex workers, and on it goes. They're willing to ally with this guy because they are able to do things like take away a woman's right to choose. But even they are having a problem with him portraying himself as Jesus Christ. And so he tried to cover it up by saying he thought it was a meme of him as a doctor. But the memes are going crazy on all social media platforms. There are hilarious memes of people dressed in Jesus robes as doctors. I even saw a Grey's Anatomy one where they had the entire cast of Grey's Anatomy dressed in the white robes with the red sash. And so this this lie, what would appear to be a very small thing, has turned into a very big thing. So the president is responding by digging in his heels and attacking the Pope even more. The Pope says he's not afraid of the president and has decided to go ahead with his 10-day tour of Africa. Meanwhile, speaking of Africa, the United States is now saying that they are thinking about withholding AIDS assistance to Zambia, HIV assistance to Zambia, unless Zambia turns over their minerals. They say Marco Rubio says, we will only secure our priorities by demonstrating willingness to publicly take support away from Zambia on a massive scale. And what they mean is we're going to embezzle you, we are going to extort you by forcing you to choose between the 1.3 million in Zambia that are relying on daily HIV medication, which is part of PEPFAR, a U.S. AIDS emergency plan that was put in place under Bush the First. There's something good that Republicans have done, which this president is rapidly undoing. So now it's not an aid program, it's just an extortion program. Give us your minerals or we will subject your people to death. And it's not just AIDS medication. So the 1.3 includes HIV medication and tuberculosis and malaria. So we're talking about tens of thousands of people whose lives are saved every year. And right now the Trump administration is saying we're taking that away, or they're considering taking it away unless you give up your minerals. We're seeing this playbook unfold all over the world, but particularly in Africa. And what they're offering is less money than we gave you before, to save lives, and it comes with the requirement that you give us your resources that you need for your country that you own. Not that we're going to buy them, but that we are going to take them in exchange for supposed aid. We're talking about copper when it comes to Zambia. Lots and lots of copper. They also have other minerals. Some of the minerals that are used in the tech world are plentiful in Zambia. Really quite disturbing. I will be there later this year. It's supposed to be one of the most underrated destinations in Africa. IShowSpeed went there in his YouTube journey and had some beautiful moments at the great waterfall, Mosi Oitunya, or as the colonizers call it, Victoria Falls. Looking forward to it, some of the most unspoiled land on the planet, and now they're saying, we want your people die, or you give us your minerals, and we get to mine it, which means more than likely you will not have the most unspoiled land in the world for too much longer. The Trump sloppy machine, the Trump gross machine, doesn't just sexually assault women, it also rapes the land. So I don't know how we stop that. I guess you can write to your members of Congress. I guess we can make it clear that we're standing against it, but I do think it's important to know it. 800-920-1580 if you'd like to weigh in. It's the perfect time to call me. We have a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Hey, LA. Tax money is our money. Let's decide how to spend it together. We deserve investments that actually make our neighborhoods safe, like affordable housing, good jobs, fire prevention and protection, and community support programs. How can we make that happen? Join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the Movement for Black Lives for the People's Budget Assembly on April 16th. Together, we'll discuss solutions to problems we're facing and make a plan with fellow Angelenos for a city that works for the people. There'll be food, childcare, and great conversation. It's time to demand a budget that puts the people first. Join us on April 16th at 7 p.m. at BLMLA's Center for Black Power and make your voice heard before the Assembly through the People's Budget Survey. Register today at peoplesbudgetla.com. We'll see you there.
From station to stage, LA Metro connects you to the artistic heart of Los Angeles. Celebrate this National Arts Month with Metro, exploring galleries, theaters, and cultural spaces across the city. Art isn't just where you end up, it's how you get there.
For the first time ever, the Action Altadena Build Together Fair and Altadena Rebuild Trade Show are coming together. If you were impacted by the Eaton Canyon fire and you're still asking, where do I start? This is for you. Join James Farr, host of KBLA Talk 1580's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, Sunday, April 19th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Collaboratory in Altadena. Get connected to the resources, experts, and support you need all in one place. Plus music, food, games, and prize drawings for the whole family. For more information, visit Eventbrite Altadena Rebuild Trade Show, because rebuilding starts together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You belong here. Okay, so I heard some brilliant young podcasters, young black men, saying they're mad at Ye because he took out a full-page ad apologizing for his Nazism and racism in the Wall Street Journal, but has not apologized to black people. And I get that point. But my point is this, and now we see Ye now postponing his show in Marseille, France, because French authorities are saying they are going to seek to ban him from the country. And what I'm calling out is the hypocrisy. I haven't seen Paris or the UK banning Elon Musk, who is the richest man in the world, who has interfered with European elections, supporting far right-wing Nazi candidates in Germany, of all places, who has done a whole Nazi salute in public under a very bright spotlight as Trump's BFF at the time. I haven't seen them banning their own Marine Le Pen. In fact, she's still in their doggone national. She's a leader of the national rally in their assembly, which is like their Congress, and has been since 2022. Far right wing fascist in your own government, but you worried about a rapper from over here doing a show for one night. That is my point. That is my point. Has Marine Le Pen apologized for her Nazism, her racism, her anti-immigrant sentiments? No, and she never will, and you'll keep her in your government. Has Elon Musk apologized for his Nazi salute, for his Nazi policies that take place inside the Tesla factories, even though y'all want to keep driving them? I know they cute, but nothing is cute enough for a Nazi salute to me. Okay, you vote with your dollar. I get it. But France, you're not banning him. You're not banning Marine Le Pen, but you don't want Ye to do a one-day concert. It's a double standard. It's a double standard. Why are you holding a rapper, a fashion influencer, who has actually apologized, whether you think it's genuine or not, or whatever the ADL said or didn't say? He actually took out a full-page ad and apologized and offered to meet with the Jewish community in the UK. Why is he, a rapper, held to a higher standard than your own congresswoman, than the richest man in the world, who is interfering to the tune of millions of dollars of campaign contributions to bring in far right-wing fascist governments in Europe? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And you can't, because it doesn't. Okay? You can't, because it doesn't. All right. More on that later. But I had to say that because here we go. He's saying, Ye says he's trying to keep his fans out of it, so he's going to go ahead and postpone that June 11th concert. Speaking of concerts, yes, I will be going to see Usher and Chris Brown. Breezy and Usher on one show. Irresistible to me. Okay? Anyway, are you following the story of Ashlee Janae? That's her online name. 31 years old. You probably are. It's been all over the internet. Her government name is Ashlee Robinson, and she died on a trip to Tanzania. She was in Zanzibar, to be exact, which is probably my favorite place in the world. One of my top 5. Lamert Park. Los Angeles is one of my favorite places in the world too, but Zanzibar, stunningly beautiful. It's like every tropical island you've ever heard of or been to, with white sand beaches and beautiful turquoise water, except everybody's black and the food is delicious and the people are friendly and it's super clean. And I shouldn't even be saying that because people are already discovering it and trying to ruin it. But anyway, she was there with this guy, Joe McCann, who's an alleged millionaire. He's a CEO of some kind of tech company, although I had been reading that his company was in trouble. But anyway, he went there with her. It was her birthday. She turned 31, and he proposed to her on camera, white guy. And then days later, she died. This is in the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful island of Zanzibar. And initially it was reported that she suicided herself. And allegedly early reports said that some authorities in Zanzibar were saying that, although I haven't verified it. What we know now is that the Zanzibari officials are holding the passport of Joe McCann, the fiancé, and are questioning him. Now, initial reports say they are questioning him as a witness. So he's not considered a person of interest or a suspect at this time. They're questioning him as a witness. The other thing that's coming out of Zanzibari police is that apparently hotel workers claimed that Ashlee and Joe, this couple that were newly engaged, had a fight, and then they later said it was a misunderstanding between the two. But apparently this was so loud or noticeable, this quote, misunderstanding. And you got to put this in the context of Zanzibar. I've been there. These are very, very polite folks. I would say 95% are Muslim, like hijabi, like head covering Muslim, not the Arab style, but African Muslim, meaning they're not trying to judge you or convert you. They're living their lives, but they're very devout. They are very, very polite and kind people. They're not the type to put your business on blast. So they'll call it a misunderstanding. Early reports called it a very loud fight. Whatever, somehow the misunderstanding was loud enough or noticeable enough for hotel management to move the couple into 2 separate rooms, which is saying a lot in this mind your own business community, this mind your own business resort. The resort Zuri Zanzibar. We're talking about beauty, beauty, beauty. And you just got engaged. And it's your birthday. Suicide? Family doesn't believe it. The family doesn't believe it at all. It sounds really unbelievable, especially when we hear that the family did not even get a call from the fiancé until days later, saying that Ashlee Robinson was in the hospital. And according to her family, they did not ever receive a call from McCann saying that she had died. In fact, they say that they didn't hear about her death from him at all, that they only heard about it from authorities in Zanzibar, from the hotel first and then authorities in Zanzibar. So it's a lot of questions here. A lot of questions. Her family is saying they want answers. They're not getting enough information. They say she was deeply loved. And if in fact it was suicide, they just need clarity. They need transparency. They say this man still has not called them. And that is very suspect in itself. If I just got engaged to somebody and took her all the way across the world to East Africa to celebrate, and then she comes up dead, if it's really a suicide, aren't I going to be trying to comfort the family, contact the family? There's another wrinkle in this, and we'll get into it more tomorrow. But the other wrinkle is that Ashlee Robinson is very anti-black. Ashlee Robinson had posts saying black men constantly embarrass us, and saying she was in her soft girl era with this white millionaire, her fiance. And so there's another debate raging online. Is this even our conversation? I say, of course, it's our conversation. The death of a black woman under mysterious circumstances, even if that black woman had problematic viewpoints that seem to be underlined, contradicted, challenged by the mere circumstance and controversy surrounding her death. I think this warrants more exploration, especially in the way we portray black men and women, the way we as black people fall into accepting the tropes, stereotypes, and animosity towards one another. Instead of focusing on what we want, we focus on what we don't want, and we can certainly fall into some traps. But more on that tomorrow. Next up, Dr. Julianne Malveaux. Julianne Malveaux, one of our top economists, labor economists in the world, joins me on tax day for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Clay Fuller has been sworn in to replace former Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God. Congratulations, you're now a member of the 119th Congress.
Endorsed by President Trump, Fuller will serve out the remainder of Greene's term as Republicans hold a narrow House majority. Black South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn says some MAGA politicians have told him directly that slavery was a good thing. Clyburn made the remarks in a recent interview with PBS's Firing Line, warning of efforts to revive past injustices. And tennis star Coco Gauff is pushing back after criticism of her natural hair in a luxury fashion ad for Miu Miu handbags. Gauff says she won't apologize, adding her 4C hair is good enough for high fashion. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500 plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's a must-win game for the Clippers tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. They need to beat Golden State in a play-in round game, otherwise their season is over. Both teams have to win 2 games to earn the 8th and final seed in the Western Conference.